All righty. Hakeem Muhammad, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. We appreciate you as always. It is time for the ALennyLocksmith.com segment, your 24-hour locksmith all throughout South Florida, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties, even our friends in Orlando and in Tampa. We've got offices in Central Florida and also in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you get locked out of your home, your car, you need your keys reprogrammed for your car, they do it all at ALennyLocksmith.com. All right, my brother, I think you heard the tease leaving the segment and coming into this. This, in my eyes, is a legacy moment for Barkov, Huberdeau, and Ekblad. What happened in game one was unacceptable, including the fact that, I'm watching John Morant lose that first game to the Warriors, and he was pissed. And he was leaning against the back of the backstop of the rim, and he took in the loss.
He got a good look,
and he came back with 45 points on their head, and evened up the series at one game apiece. My point is, I need Ekblad and Barkov to become John Morant tonight. I need them to show me that they are what we think they are. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about a legacy moment tonight.
Well, I think it's a big game for the Panthers in that, look, you never want to fall behind 0-2 when you host the first two games. As we saw last year against Tampa, they had to scratch and claw just to get that overtime win in game 3.
To an experienced team that has 9 guys that have won the cup. Very dangerous.
No doubt. No, and look, I mean, it's, not that uncommon. We saw last night with, the series, Tampa fell, they lost game 1. They scored 5 goals in Toronto. Minnesota won 6-2 over St. Louis after getting shut out in game 1. The Oilers got embarrassed in game 1. They won 6-0 last night. And the Panthers are probably, they should be better than all those teams. And you would think that they're going to bounce back tonight and do what they do, which would be the expectation. I expect, the betting lines to reflect that Florida's still a heavy favorite tonight. So, yeah, it's an important game. Is it must win?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a must win series. I think you're definitely putting yourself behind the 8 ball if you lose tonight. It sends all kinds of wrong messages.
Well, if we're talking about an experienced team, Tampa falls behind 0-2. Okay, it's a bad situation, but it's the Lightning, and they have a history. Panthers have no history. Their only history is choking. That's not a good history to have. So I don't think you want to go 0-2 when you've never done it before. Is my point. You know what I'm saying?
Of course not.
If you've been there and done it before, and you fall 0-2. You're like, okay, man, we're good. We've been here before. Let's settle down. Let's get this done. But if you're the Panthers, you got to wonder, is it puckering up a little bit right now?
Yeah, and that's the good thing about a game like this is that you get a chance to really see what your team is made of. You get to see, their guts, if their guts can turn to glory, backs against the wall. This is, for a long regular season, that they really, was kind of locked up for a while. There wasn't a whole lot of adversity that they had to overcome, some injury issues and things like that. And obviously the coaching change early. But, I mean, this is like, okay, the first time that they've really had, I don't want to say backs completely against the wall because, again, it's a 7-game series. But you lose game 1 at home when you're the number 1 seed in the league. You got to come back in game 2 and smack the opponent in the face. And that's what I would expect from the Panthers tonight. I would think that it's going to be it should be an all-out assault in the first period. I mean, game 1 was shaping up to be a great start, and then they couldn't get out of the box. I think they had 2 or 3 minor penalties in the first 5 minutes. He gave up the power play goal.
And the Uyghur mistakes were, oh my God, those things were like, he made mistakes like if he was like a second year forward or something, like he was a young guy or something.
Like, well, I think with Uyghur, just watching him play all year,
he's terrific.
He's good for a turnover a game. Like that's also part, like it. No, it's true. As good of a player he is, and he's an excellent player, but he's good for like a turn, one, gaff a game. It's to be expected, I think, just because he plays such an aggressive style. He's trying to make things happen that other guys aren't trying to make happen. And sometimes, it leads to a turnover. I think it was completely the worst time for it to happen in game one, obviously, because it's,
and one of the worst people to give it to, by the way.
Yeah, and that kind of plays into it though, because when you go to make a one-on-one move like he did, you're doing it against a guy like Ovechkin. But I mean, watching the play, he had nowhere to go with the puck either. He was the last guy back. His defensive partner was up. The forwards were all up. There was nobody behind him. So there was nowhere for him to go with the puck other than to dump it to the boards. And if you look at the timing, it was kind of a funky play. Now, like I said, that's kind of Weeder's style of play. It's to be expected. I think I'm used to him doing it. The pros far outweigh the cons with Mackenzie Weegar. In game one, it was the worst possible timing. And it also came, as you said, when he had the delay of game penalty at the beginning, which, those things happen. Yeah, obviously nobody's ever trying to do it. It's a horrible time. And like, nobody's going to be more upset with himself than Weegar. Like he's
a terrific player. He just had a crappy night, bro.
But on that same token, I would expect him to go out there and have maybe one of his best games of the season tonight, because nobody's going to be putting more pressure on him than he will be putting on himself. But overall, if they don't go out tonight and, really put it on the Capitals, it would be concerning more, not as much that they'd be down 0-2, more so that they perform to get to that point would be my biggest worry.
All right. Nelson Alfonso says, Big O, if you need a ride from the airport, I got you. Thank you for the super chat, sir. I appreciate it. The wife is picking me up. Yes, I've got a wife. Don't worry about it. She's eagerly awaiting me after 9 days here in Vegas. So trust me. Okay. So anyway, Bob was not the problem at all in that game. But I will say this. On that breakaway, once Ovechkin steals it from him, I did want him to give me one of those moments where you're as elite as everybody else and stone a guy like that. And that's the only thing that I need tonight also from Bob. Bob needs to also kind of go into a night where he's on his head, stopping everything and giving his teammates a little extra life. Like, come on, man, Bob's got it going on. We got to put the pressure on these guys. It's got to be a kind of a give and take too at the same time. I'd like to see Bob take it to that level. You know what I'm saying?
Well, of course you would. I think with Bob, we've seen him turn a corner since that West Coast trip where he didn't play any of the 4 games. He took the puck to the face in LA. They were saying that he was sick as well. And Spencer Knight was fine. He won. It was like 2-1-1 on that road trip or whatever it was. Since then, aside from the 2 games, the Jersey game and the Toronto game, where Bob got lit up like a Christmas tree, which obviously is, it's not a caveat. Like, yes, that was bad. But aside from that, look, in terms of like looking at the big picture, he was pretty good every other start. And you're talking about like maybe 12, 13 starts over the last month and a half of the season. Coming into the playoffs, I've felt better about Bob than I have probably in 3 years that he's been wearing a Panthers sweater. Yeah, of course, you'd want to see him make that breakaway save on Kuznetsov, but I'm not going to fault him for it when he played an outstanding game. There were no like cheap crap goals that you're used to seeing. You had the first goal was a power play goal, and rebounds are kind of Bob's, Achilles heel. But the team did a great job cleaning up the rebounds for the most part. The power play, obviously, you're down a man. It's a little bit more difficult. But after that, it was just the 2 breakdowns in the third period, the breakaway on the Weegar turnover, and then the 2-on-1 that Oshie converted a backdoor that most goalies, few goalies are going to be able to stretch to make that backdoor save. But overall, if Bob plays the way the rest of the playoffs, however long that may last for the Panthers, if what we saw in game 1 is playoff Bob for the rest of the way, they're going to be in really good shape.
Yeah, as long as we get the typical Panthers offense, of course.
Yeah, well, of course. But again, it's compartmentalized, right? And Bobrovsky and goaltending is its own area. If that is covered, if we see what we saw from Bob in game 1 for the rest of the series and beyond, I think the scoring element and what the guys did, the forwards and the defensemen, what they did in front of him during the regular season, I think that will take care of itself. And I think we're going to see that tonight. And if we don't see that tonight, then yes, it's time for a concern. But I don't think that's going to happen just because they're so deep and they're so well coached and they know where they're supposed to go. It's a smart team that I will be shocked if they don't go out there and put a 3 or 4 spot up tonight, at least.
Hunter Butler is sending in a super chat question. He says, you think the loss was coaching?
The game one? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was coaching. I think
I will say this. This is why, if anybody's wondering why the interim tag has not been taken off, it's because his team needs to perform in the playoffs in order to take off that interim tag. So for those people that maybe were wondering, well, I mean, he's done such a great job during the regular season, and he did. But I think that front office probably thought, well, this team's kind of almost in cruise control. Plus, we added more talent along the way throughout the year. Let's see what Mr. Brunette does during the playoffs, and that will determine whether we take off the interim tag or not. Agree or not?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, the team did so well after Brunette took over that there was no reason to mess with you. Like, you don't have to add that extra layer of storyline and we're going to do that. Like that would have been rushing. It would have not been prudent on the Panthers' part. Let it all play out. Give yourself a little deniability if you want to make a move or not. So yeah, that made perfect sense. But to get back to what Hunter was saying,
right? That's what I'm saying. It's not coaching, but
yeah, no, because they were getting their chances. I mean, the Panthers had the puck around the crease. They just weren't finishing plays. They weren't.
The weaker mistakes have nothing to do with coaching at all. Zero.
Well, no, I mean, the guys were where they were supposed to be. It just they weren't finishing. So I would expect that to change. They were there. The puck. It's not like the Capitals goalie Vanacek played all that well. Pucks were hitting him more than he was, moving around making big saves. Like Sergei Bobrovsky had to be a bit more athletic, I believe, than Vanacek did. And not to take anything away, he was a winning goalie. He gave up 2 goals to the highest scoring team in the league. But I think the Panthers did him some favors by not challenging him as much as they could have, and as much as I expect them to tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, what are you working on at WPLG so folks can check you out, and also tell them about Chirping the Cats podcast, my friends.
Yeah, I mean, right now, work-wise, it's just, churning along with the playoffs, seeing how things go. Hopefully not any crazy storylines that we have to cover over the next week. And then with Chirping the Cats, I put up 2 podcasts this week as a playoff preview. One of them was like a more focused series preview with Tariq El-Bashar, who covers the Capitals. Does a great job for The Athletic, and you also catch him on the TNT broadcasts. And then the other podcast was more of a playoff preview with some Panthers focus with ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, who's like amazing, great guy. And then I also got a quick one-on-one, a 4-minute with Forsling segment, as I like to call it, just to catch up with one of the Panthers' maybe unsung heroes on that back line ahead of the playoffs. He was super excited. It was a cool chat to talk to him. So I figured it's the playoffs. The Panthers are the best team in the league. Let's do like a double podcast, double-barreled as we go in. So 2 new pods posted this week. Chirping the Cats. You can find it wherever you find your podcast.
There you go. And follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. And you can also catch his work at the WPLG website. David, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time here. I appreciate you in the lockdown segment. We will catch up next week, my friend.
My pleasure, brother. Safe travels home.
You got it. Legacy moment. It is the lockdown segment.